Hey all you motherfuckers, it's Kate Phoenix from Naked Cannibal Campers, and you're watching Mr. Tony of the Dead.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Mr. Tony of the Dead here, and I have another movie review for everybody out there. This one's going to be on trauma. This is from Vinegar Syndrome, came out in 1993. And let me ask you this, are you a fan of Dario Argento movies? Well, if you are, you're probably not going to like this review. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you to my channel, and please, if you could, give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. I'd really appreciate that. Written and directed by Dario Argento, and like I said, this came out in 1993, and this stars a first starring role for Asia Argento. She plays Aria in this, and she's this Romanian girl who has this problem. She's anorexic, and she's been in and out of this clinic, and she's on the run, and she's going to jump off this bridge, and she gets stopped from jumping from this guy named David, who is also a recovering addict of drugs and that. They don't really get too much into it, but he's a ex-drug addict, and he's, you know, there to help her out. So they have some food. Well, he does, and she doesn't want to eat, and she takes a bite, runs to the bathroom, throws it up, kind of sneaks out of there, and she gets caught by these two policemen, and she ends up getting taken home to her parents, and her parents are like, oh yeah, my child, that's my child. Her mother is played by Piper Laurie, the, you know, fantastic Piper Laurie, and I gotta say, for an older woman, she looked really, really hot in this. She had black hair, she had this like terrible accent, and she was like a medium and everything. She was pretty hot, I gotta say. And Asia Argento in this, she's playing a 16-year-old, but I believe she was probably 18 when this happened, because, you know, you do get to see her, you know, her boobs in this at the one point in time. And a lot of people are like, first off, it's kind of weird that Dario Argento has his daughter show her boobs in this movie. It's kind of weird. And then there's another thing like, oh, she's young, and I believe she was 18. So, you know, go into it with that, because I really don't think they'd show that, and I really don't think Vinegar Syndrome will put it out if it was like she was underage. So, I guess I'm trying to say is, feel free to look if you want, because she was of age. She doesn't look it. She does actually kind of look like she's younger than that, but, you know, the boobs say different, I guess. So she's at home, and her parents are having this seance and everything, and then what happens is, and this might be a little bit of a spoiler alert, it's not really if you read the back of this, her parents end up getting killed, and there's this serial killer going around called the Headhunter. Kind of a corny name, the Headhunter, I know, but what they do is they knock the back of your head where your spinal cord is, and it kind of like knocks you out, not really knocks you out, but like keeps you awake while they put this device around your neck. It's like this wire thing, and it like goes like up and like in and out, and it's like pulling the wire through it. And here they're actually awake and aware of everything going on, and they put that around their neck and basically take their head off. And there's a whole thing about, you know, seeing the last moments of your life, and you can, I don't know, there's like some mystic thing to it. It's bullshit. So Aria is like, sees something happening outside, so she runs out and she sees her parents dead on the ground, and the killer walks backwards holding both of their heads, and she can't see who the killer is. It's just like, oh, that's it, they took my parents' heads. It's really, really kind of a creepy moment, and she like freaks out and everything, and she runs and she tries to find this David again, that she actually took his wallet and everything off of him, and that's how she gets to him, like, hey, I have your wallet, do you want it back? And he's like, yeah, I want it back. So then they meet up, and they're basically she wants to try to find out who the killer is, and so she wants him to help her, and, you know, discover who the killer is and all that kind of stuff. You know, the typical here and there kind of giallo kind of thing. Now in the movie, like I said, she's supposed to be a 16-year-old. Well, it doesn't really say anything, but like it kind of like flashes forward a little bit. I don't know how long later. It could probably a couple of weeks or whatever. And then you notice that this David guy, who works for the news station, he does like drawings and stuff. I don't know. I don't really understand what he fucking does, to be honest. But he is like now with her because they kiss, and I thought, oh, she's underage. And then I looked it up how old she was, and I was like, okay, she wasn't underage. Because again, I don't think they allow that. But they end up kissing. Technically, you don't see the kiss. You just see his head go in front of her face, and you hear a kiss. But you don't actually see a kiss. So whatever. So yeah, there's a killer going around, and she wants to find out who it was that killed her parents. And here, this killer on another part of the movie, there's this kid that lives across, that like in the next house of the killer, and he sees this woman that's staring at him the whole time. Here, it's actually a severed head, and the mother is like, "There's nobody up there." And this kid's kind of like a Dennis the Menace looking kind of kid. I don't understand like his point in the movie, to be honest. It's just a neighbor. I thought he was going to get caught. It kind of reminded me the whole time, thinking like it's going to be like Fright Night, where the killer's going to see him and then like kill him, but it never happens. He's kind of a, you know, weird, kind of nerdy kind of kid. He studies butterflies, and there's like this on the back here. It has like this gecko, and it's like, what's that about? And the first person that dies right in the beginning of the movie is this, like, she works on, you know, chiropractor kind of person, and she has a gecko in there, and the killer ends up taking the gecko and all that. And it's kind of gross later on, because the kid sneaks into the house and grabs this gecko, and like real like violently, and like he looks down and he fucking killed it. And I don't know if they really killed it or not, to be honest. It looked like it could have been actually dead, but I don't know. Hopefully not. You know, I kind of felt bad. The gecko was pretty cool looking and everything, changing colors and that. You know, kind of nothing major in the movie. It was, I don't want to see a gecko get killed. Now, this movie says in the beginning that it got all of the transfer and everything. It's done to the best they can, because some things they couldn't get, I guess, get cleaned up enough or something. So they went to the next available source, which was like, you know, probably like DVD or something like that. Which, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really notice anything different with that. And usually you could tell it's like grainy or it looks like shit. And I think at the very end it might have been what they were talking about, but it's at the very end. It doesn't matter at all. But the rest of the movie looked fine to me. It looked fine, and the volume and everything too was fine, and they can hear it perfectly. You know, everything was good in that. Some of the kills were actually pretty cool. The beheadings, because it was just like, it was always just a beheading. But everybody, it was like, I don't know how they got hit so easily. I don't know. It's just strange. But there was some cool kills. I will say that. That's the good stuff about it. Tom Savini did some of the special effects and everything. Good kills, good effects in that regards. Some of the cast I did like. Brad Dourif is in this. Not very long, but I always like to see him in movies. You know, I was always like, oh, there's Billy Bibbit, you know, and you know, he was in this, and he had a small part. The guy who played Brad, I was like, I can't remember where the hell I saw him before. I'm thinking I saw him in Gotcha. I think that might have been where I saw him, but I don't know. He just looks like a typical 90s guy. He has to be in his 20s, but he's with this 16-year-old, and so that might not work too well with some people. It might be a little cringy. They don't do anything else. There's just like a moment where he's trying to wake her up or something, and she pulls him into bed, and then they have a kiss that you don't see. But there's definitely, you know, something going on. You can tell. There's no sex or anything like that. It doesn't go any further than that, you know, thankfully. Now, the story seemed okay. You know, it seemed like a good story. But being that Dario Argento was trying to get back into this, you know, typical giallo kind of mode, it just did not work for me. It was like obvious that they were trying to do it. I think it was a little too, especially the first kill. The first kill was terrible. It was a lot of like, I don't know, maybe it could have been cut differently, but she like stares at them for too long, and then like it was just, I don't know, I just couldn't stand it. And then when that head got cut off, it was incredibly fake looking. Now I know it's not a real head, but it was incredibly fake looking, and it was like, oh my god, really? And there was no blood. He picks the head, there's no fucking blood. Like, there's no blood. It was not cauterized or anything. There was no blood. And it's like, okay, it's a little unrealistic, but that head looked terrible. But there were other kills in the movie with the heads decapitated that look kind of neat. So it's a little forgiving because, like I said, the kills make up for the terrible looking head that was in the first one. The first kill, I should say. And the weapon they used to kill, when, you know, the beheading and that, was kind of cool. You know, I can't remember ever seeing that. I mean, I've seen people get their heads cut off with wires and stuff, but never with this, like, machine. And it was kind of neat. That was cool. But what I couldn't stand in this movie is, I know it was her first acting role and everything, starring role, I mean, but Asia Argento, she was terrible in this. She was so annoying. Like, I couldn't stand it. It was everything like, oh, help me, help me, help me. And then he'll ask her questions. She's like, that's none of your business. She's like this typical little, like, brat at first. And then, like she's just, like, always, like, going one direction and then, like, going back another direction. Like she wants to help, but she's not going to let him get into her head or try to help. And it's just, I don't know, she just, like, drove me nuts throughout the whole movie. Like, the way she was delivering her lines and that was like, I don't know, I just didn't care for her at all. She just drove me crazy. And I like her. I like her a lot, especially nowadays. You know, I think she's a good actress now, but back then, I know it was first role and everything, but a starring role, but she was terrible. I couldn't stand it. And the guy that she kind of goes with, David, I didn't like him at all either. He was just, like, creepy. It seemed he seemed very creepy to me. I did not trust him. I don't know what it was. It was just something about him. And then the fact that he's, like, with this 16-year-old girl and that, which nobody, like, mentions in that. They bust on him at work saying, like, oh yeah, you have sex with her and stuff like that. Like, and, like, these guys are, like, celebrating the fact that he's with this 16-year-old, but he's just, like, denying it. It's just, I don't know, I just didn't like him either. I didn't care anything about him at all. I was hoping he'd get his head cut off. You know, I just didn't like him at all. The whole reason for the killing was a good reason, but then when they show a flashback to the reaction of why it was happening, it was so stupid and so unbelievable that it was just like, that wouldn't happen. That could not happen. And it was another thing too, was when the heads got cut off. There's one lady, she got her head cut off, and he ran into the room, and the head's on the ground saying one word, and she's saying like a name. I don't want to say the name, but she's saying a name over and over again. Now, I heard your head, you know, is still alive for however long after you get your head cut off, but I'm pretty sure by the time he got in the room, it wouldn't have been moving. But it was, like, really weird. It was kind of cool, but yet it was like, that wouldn't happen. And then, like, something happens, like, in the flashback, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but you hear this crying, and it's like, yeah, I don't think that would happen. You know, it's a neat look at how things happen. One guy gets his head cut off. I don't want to say who, and I don't want to say where or how, but he gets his head cut off, and in a way, you know, where you saw the foreshadowing. I actually noticed the foreshadowing, and he got killed in a way. And then when the head came off, it screamed all the way down as it was falling, and I was like, that's ridiculous.
What the fuck kind of stupid shit is that?
And then that looked kind of bad too, because you could see the green screen around it. Now, this might piss people off. You know, I think I've come to the conclusion that I'm just not a fan of Dario Argento movies. I haven't seen them all. I'm willing to see more, but I just don't like his movies. I think I like some of the movie, and then, like, there's just things I don't like about it. Like, Deep Red, I think was terrible. I think it sucks. I'm sorry. I thought this movie was pretty bad as well. I think if it wasn't trying to be I think if he wasn't trying to go back to how he used to do things, in this like giallo style, it might have been fine. But it was just, it just didn't work. It just did not work. I think it was just like you could tell they were trying for that style. They were trying to shoot it that way. And while when I watch like an older one of his, even if I don't care for the movie, I like the style of it. I like, you know, the song, the score. I like the images and everything. You know, I like the story, but it just never, comes together for me. Like I never really like anything. Now, there's some things that I didn't mind that I've seen of his, but honestly, off the top of my head, I can't even think of the title. Yeah, I just did not care for this movie at all. Now, if you're a fan of the movie, it did look nice, but like with all the things that I said about it, I won't watch this ever again. Just don't care for it. The cover is okay. You got this emboss here and nothing really glossy, and then you got this gecko in the back. Trauma on each side. But I just don't like it. I was really didn't want to watch this, I'll be honest, because I've had such a bad experience with every one of his movies. I'm just gonna say, Fulci rules. That's all I'm gonna say. I guess I could say if you are a fan of this movie, you can upgrade it. There are a lot of cool things in the special features, tons of interviews and stuff like that, commentaries. So the special features are way better than the movie, in my opinion. In my opinion, I don't recommend it, especially if you're starting off with watching, giallos or anything like that. I would not recommend watching this one first. I don't know which one I would recommend, to be honest. So maybe somebody in the comments below could give you, where to start. And I'm sure this like ruffles some feathers out there. But I'm honest in my reviews, and I just don't like this one. I'm not going to bash it or anything, but it was bad. It's just my opinion. Not really an Argento guy, which sucks. By the way, the interview on here with him, I know he's really, really old, but it's kind of painful to watch because you read the captions of what he's saying about 6 times before he finishes that sentence. Oh, it's so slow. So I feel bad for him because he looks like it hurts for him to talk, and I feel bad. But like, man, the interview kind of hurt me as well. But yeah, again, not for me. Not a fan. Not an Argento fan. I do like Demons and some other one that was like the Two Evil Eyes. I think his story was okay on there. But other than that, I can't think of anything I liked from him. I'm a Fulci guy, and this just sealed the deal. So yeah, if you're interested in this, if you're going to pick it up, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you think. I'm sure it's your favorite movie, and I'm probably pissed you off, but I'm just sorry. It's just not for me. It's my opinion, and I don't recommend this movie. So, but Vinegar Syndrome did a good job of cleaning it up. It's a good addition. It's just not a good movie. And that's all I'm going to say. But that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Follow me on any one of the social media links in the description box below. And hit that little notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. That's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. And talk to you later. Bye.